Hey guys, what is up?
Yo, 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 yo.
And I just realized that I forgot my microphone, but anyway, welcome to the Conversations That Matter show, episode 9.
Okay, 9. Okay, yeah. I am excited for number 10 actually. So let's get on with 9 fast.
Dude, it's been like 9 weeks, right? So it's,
More than 9 weeks because we missed a couple of weeks, didn't we?
yeah, but it's more than 2 months. It's like almost 2 months, I
I
guess.
think it's 2 months. Yeah. Wow. No, it's
GG.
yeah, it's 6, 7 weeks. Yeah. Wow. Nice.
Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing really good. I want to share with the world, like previously in the past 3 to 4 days, I think 5 days, I've been constantly thinking about the results of a personality test that I took. It was a test from Jordan Peterson, and you can find it on understandmyself.com. It costs $10 to be able to complete it, but it's completely worth every single penny. I learned stuff about myself that I couldn't formulate before. I couldn't articulate. I had like intuitive knowledge, but I couldn't really get a grasp on it. And I've never seen such accuracy when somebody that doesn't know me describes me. And I think that even I believe that I'm a very self-aware person, but this test nailed it, like it completely nailed it. And I review it once a day before I go to bed just to get it like a better grasp of who I really am. So yeah, go to understandmyself.com and take the fucking test. I think the best $10 you will ever spend, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
You definitely sold me, to be fair. I'm gonna
Yeah.
on Thursday, I think. Thursday, Friday, probably. Is it how long is it, and on what form? Is it like multiple choice or
Oh,
what?
it's very, very simple. 100 questions of multiple choice.
Yeah.
You just rate from 1 to 5. So let's say, for example, um, questions of the sort of how much do you enjoy nature, like from 1 to 5, and stuff like that. All right, or how much do you like to follow a schedule, 1 to 5, and stuff like that.
Have
And
you? Yeah. Sorry.
what you get as a result um, is your percentile in comparison to the general population,
Hmm.
according to 5 personality traits. They call them the Big Five. It's like the most cutting edge and like profound and replicable social psychology and personal psychology metrics that you can get. And it turns out that your personality can be categorized into 5 different dimensions. Okay. And you get the result, and these are like, they call it the Big Five dimensions. If I remember correctly, one of them is openness to experience. The other one is neuroticism. The other one is conscientiousness. The other one is oh fuck, I don't remember. I remember all the sub parts, but I don't remember the big parts. The other one has to do about compassion and politeness.
Hmm. Okay.
And the fifth one, I don't remember right now.
It's
But
fine.
each of these have different categories of their own. and you get a very clear explanation about like how well do you do in comparison to the general population, and what does this practically mean for you in terms of like what kind of career should you pursue, and what kind of relationships should you pursue, and how do you stand in the face of adversity, how assertive you are, what happens with your relationships. Are you the dominant one? Are you a person that withdraws when in face of fear and stuff like that? And it's very, very analytical. I was terribly surprised. I've taken a lot of personality tests. This is like, I have no words, really. I really
That's
have no
exactly what I
words.
want to ask you. Like, in comparison with the other tests that you might have taken,
Yeah.
what would you say is like the big difference that makes the impact to you?
I think that, for example, I took the 16 personalities test. You know, the INTJ, ENFP, and stuff like that. I think you also know it, right? I think most people know it. It's a very standard and very popular way of getting your personality like categorized, and there are 4 pillars to it. One is extrovert or introvert. The other one is I think it's intuitive or sensing. The other one is logical or feeling, and the other one is judging or perceiving. So you get 4x4 matrix. These are 16 personalities. You fill out a questionnaire like usual, and you get your personality type. But what I found, and with other similar personality types, personality tests like the Hexaco test, is that it's similar to reading the horoscopes. Like you can find like similarities, but you really have to be biased, you know, to find them. So but you can also disprove it, right? So for example, I did the sometime I did the 16 personality trait, and it turned out that I was supposed to be like an extrovert, right? And I read about it, and I kept reading on and reading on, and I convinced myself that yeah, I'm an extrovert. But then I redid the test, and it came out that I was an introvert, and it was like completely different thing between like in the difference of 2 months. You know, it was inconsistent, and this convinced me that it didn't give me the right answer about myself, because I could agree with any personality outcome that it would give me, because I went out and read them all. I was like, oh yeah, I'm also this guy. I could be this guy. I could also be this guy. And it was very inconsistent for me.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
this one in particular, it was like reading the resume of your entire behavior.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like mind fucking.
I'm really curious now to see how it's gonna be next week for me. I'll let you
And
know.
it was also convincing, because once you get inside, you pay $10 to do it. And what the instructions say is that you can only complete the test once. You're not given the right to do it again, because knowledge of the outcome will affect future test results.
Okay.
So, and this means that they also give you some other tips, like you shouldn't be hungry when you do it, because when you're hungry, you get to be a little more pessimistic, a little more on the negative side. You shouldn't do it when you are anxious. You shouldn't do it when you are a bit depressed and you're feeling down. You should do it like when you're feeling exactly like balanced. You've eaten. Nobody will interrupt you for the duration of the test and stuff like that. So it's like running an experiment, like in a lab. It's very good.
GG.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Have you read The Ego is the End? Not The Ego is the End, sorry. The Obstacle is the Way.
No, I haven't.
First of all, I totally recommend the book. Basically, the audiobook is even better because at the end of the audiobook, it gives you 1 hour, no, 2 hours and a half of a podcast between Ryan Holiday and Tim Ferriss. And it's fucking insane. It's insane.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know if I said this before, but it's insane.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. Is it?
wow. And yeah, basically the whole book like raised, and the podcast as well, raised different questions that I think that you are one of the people that can definitely answer that. Because as you probably already know, Obstacle is the Way is a book that talks a lot about Stoicism.
Mhm.
And you are a person who read Stoics, and a lot of discussions that we had together, you know, you mentioned Stoics and you like these things. And as you remember, the hardcore
Yeah,
ones,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah,
first episode, I described you as a modern Stoic philosopher, but you said, you know, you're not. But so I have a couple of questions for you regarding Stoicism and resources, because right now I'm very much reading and studying meditation in order not only on hands-on, like, you know, actually practicing it, but also reading books and finding things and try to, you know, to optimize my day in a way that gives me the opportunity to meditate and learn more about that. And to be fair, I really like it. But throughout reading the book, I also learned that Stoicism is something that I would really like to get deep into and learn things as well. So for the people that don't know, including me, what is Stoicism?
Okay. So Stoicism is a philosophy. It's a practical philosophy about how to approach life um, when it comes to reacting to certain realizations. I think one of the biggest realizations that you have is, of course, the fact that you are going to die, and this, even though it sounds very dark and gloomy, it essentially dictates the entirety of your life and how you approach things. Because the fact that we are going to die means that we have a finite time here, which gives us a sense of urgency and like make puts us in a mode of spending energy and time and resources to do things, because if we were meant to live forever, then why wouldn't we get out of bed in the morning? There would be no reason, because we would always have tomorrow, you know. um, which is like one very important thing to note, like you're going to die. And after this realization, um, you take on a certain like a mental, you embark on a mental journey, and you realize how can you approach life with this knowledge in mind, and how unlikely it is for you actually to even being born as yourself, and what implications does this have uh, to your behavior and to what your behavior will bring to the rest of the world as well. Um, and one of the greatest philosophers, Seneca, wrote that there is people say that there is not much time in our lives, which is, in my opinion, and I completely agree with what Seneca wrote, is that no, we have enough time as long as we spend it in the right way. So Stoicism essentially is an approach to being very efficient and effective with your time, because of the realization that your time is very limited. and identifying your value system in order to lead such a life that will be as fulfilling as possible, and at the same time bring some value back to those around you, to your immediate environment. And one such way to be so effective, according to Stoicism, is to let go of anything that is outside your circle of influence. And this is like, in a way, where Stoicism and like Buddhism interact with each other, because they kind of say the same thing, is that you shouldn't worry about things altogether. Like, it rains, so okay, it's raining, why should I be upset about that? Like, I cannot change that, it is what it is. Okay, I think like one of the best trademark phrases for Stoics is that it is what it is. I think it's one of the best phrases that that you can relate with Stoicism. And if you start to think about how fragile we are and how limited we are, you start to value like your energy a lot more, and you realize very soon that being upset about things that really don't matter and things that you can't change is a waste. It's a huge waste of energy and time. And this is why, for example, people have correlated Stoicism with a lack of emotion, which is wrong, or sometimes with a lack of expressiveness, which is also wrong, and stuff like that. But the fact that Stoic people don't care about things that they can't change or things that are just, they just are, that doesn't mean that Stoics are emotionless, cold-hearted people, all right? Nor they are driven purely by logic as well. There are a lot of biases in everyone, and a proper Stoic would recognize that. And funny enough, today's excerpt from the Daily Stoic book for November 21st was about something that Epictetus said, that when someone says bad things about you, that your response should be, he said these things because he doesn't know of my other thing to say, like of my other faults. So in a way, so in a way, it's a way of recognizing that we are faulty by design. We're not perfect, and there is nothing to hide from it, right? So as soon as you realize that, you also come to another conclusion, that you have to live by your truth. Okay, you have to identify your truth and live with it. And I think this is like the most empowering belief that anyone can have. And living your truth means that you have to identify your value systems, and you have to identify your emotional predisposition and your emotional reaction to things that happen around you. And you have to be completely aligned in your thoughts, words, and actions as you move through the world. And you have to be like, you have to set the standard for morality and honesty and truthfulness in your life and lead the fucking way, because nobody else is going to do that for you. Okay? And Stoicism, I think, is in its essence a manifestation of truthful living. And truth, of course, can take many forms. I think there are very little things that are objectively true. But I think that as humans, we have a really ingrained essence of morality, of good and evil. And we can identify just behavior and justice very easily, and doing the right thing will always be the right thing. Of course, this is self-evident, and you can never go wrong with that. And now that I also talked about good and evil, Stoicism is a philosophy of, even though it sounds counterintuitive or wrong, it actually is a very empathetic philosophy and approach, even though it's correlated with lack of emotion. And the reason for that is that it recognizes the innate evil also in humans, and the reason for that is that everybody has their own motivation, and everybody has also a very large scope, not only of knowledge, but also of ignorance. So one of the most common quotes, and I'm paraphrasing here from Stoicism, is that when a man does you harm, do not look at the man or the harm and forget your judgment of the harm, but only look at like what happened to the man in order for him to do such a thing, you know. So
Amazing.
like there is always a purpose for what somebody does, and I think trying to find purpose in what happens is one of the most empathetic actions you can take. I think many people wrongly connect empathy with showing love or showing compassion or stuff like that. But I think this is just a temporary solution to calm your nerves and show some emotion. But somebody who is a truth seeker, I think, is much more empathetic in that sense, because once you find the purpose, you can actually justify in your head, and it takes logic to justify, right? You can justify in your head, like, what drove this person to do such a thing? And this is like, I think you draw immense power from it, and then you can operate in a world where things make sense to you, you know?
Okay.
And this grounds you very much.
Oh my God. There are a lot of things I need to say. So let's see if I will remember them all. So first of all, to be honest, I was a little bit intimidated by the word stoicism, because it sounds a bit slicky and like stoicism, philosopher, what the fuck, blah blah blah. But when I started, to understand the concept of stoicism, it really hit me like it's something that, like it's a way of thinking, a way of living that I can really relate to, especially if you think that my motto, quote unquote, is fail your way to success, right? So you should always find the beauty in the darkness and stuff like that. So the things I want to say, and I don't want to interrupt your run too much because you said many things, but so first thing first, I was looking throughout my notes on the Audible, and I found the definition that Ryan gives on Stoicism. So I'm gonna play it for you. It's very small.
All right.
So it's basically, at its core, it's this philosophy that says, like, you don't control the world around you, you only control your response to that world. And so that's a very practical and beneficial philosophy when a lot of things are happening around you that you wish weren't happening.
And it has like some other things that also struck me, like you will die, memento mori, we say that a lot. You're not special, it was meant to happen. And I want to say something on that as well. What to do when something goes bad. Obstacle becomes the way, take one step at a time. There are so many failures, feedback, persist and resist. There are so many beautiful concepts in this book, and I was really, really, really amazed. So first thing, so how many first things? a thing I want to say about what you said. You said at some point that someone said that, you know, you should understand the reason when someone does something bad to you. You should try to, you know, go on their shoes. And there's this story, I think, of Marcus Aurelius' meditations, where he says that someone did like you know, stole his power somehow, and instead of him going, and what Marcus Aurelius did was he tried to make it be like a secret so that his soldiers do not go there and kill them. And even to the people that support the other person, even to the person that stole his power, he forgive him. And to go a little bit deeper on that, then you said that you have to realize that when someone is doing something, you should not focus on the individual, you should not focus on the action, but you should focus on the reason, you know, that on the fact that you would have done the same. And here there's the quote from Eckhart Tolle that really helped me to relax when I broke up with my girlfriend some years ago. And he said that if her past was your past, if her pain was your pain, if her level of consciousness was your level of consciousness, then you would think and act exactly as she did, which makes absolutely sense. Of course, it's like, yeah, if I was her, if I had her experiences, I would 100% do the same. So we shouldn't try to, you know, justify other people, and, you know, we shouldn't like put grief in some, you know, relationships, even if they end. Like, it is what it is, as, you know, they said. So next question on Stoicism. Apart from Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, any other philosophers you would recommend? Number one. And number two, would you recommend to someone that wants to start learning about Stoicism?
I don't know about any other philosophers, to be honest. And also, it's funny that Marcus Aurelius didn't consider himself a Stoic philosopher, actually. Even though now we consider him a Stoic, and he studied a lot of Stoic, and he was connected with a lot of Stoics, he personally did think that he was a Stoic philosopher, and he didn't write with the intent to write philosophy. He was just in a way, he was just a person writing essays for himself and keeping his journal, which is very interesting. And also, he was a king, right? You know that he was an emperor, and he was the only emperor / philosopher in the history that we've ever had. Yeah, it's very interesting. No, I don't know anybody else, to be honest. Seneca, Epictetus, also Chrysippos.
And Demosthenes, maybe? Demosthenes?
No, I don't think he was a Stoic, to be honest. I don't know.
Okie dokie. And what about the books?
Yeah, books. The complete pinnacle of Stoic philosophy is from Marcus Aurelius, I believe. It's the book called Meditations. It's an autobiography / memoirs / journal of his life, from the time that from later, when he had become already an emperor, until just before his death. And it's very interesting to see like how a person in absolute power sees the world through the eyes of Stoicism, through the lens of Stoicism. Another book, an interesting book, is also The Daily Stoic, which is written by Ryan Holiday. It's a very good book because it's very digestible, and you can the concept of it is that you read one piece of Stoic philosophy per day for 1 year, and just 1 page per day, you know. And it's a great way to start a habit of reading and also introduce yourself to the idea of Stoicism. And you don't even have to start on the 1st of January. Yeah. It said so in the book. Like if it's like 5th of August, you can start then. It doesn't matter when you start.
Yeah.
Another interesting book is from Seneca. It's called On the Shortness of Time. On the Shortness of Life, sorry, which talks about the concept of time. Seneca was also extremely rich, right? He was an aristocrat, and it's also very, very interesting to see his perspective on things. And anything else that was written by Epictetus. Epictetus was a slave, and he was enslaved because of his beliefs, which is very interesting also. And you can also see like how he viewed the world through his own eyes, from a totally different position than the other two. But you can learn a lot of lessons, and I think the best thing is that Stoicism is a practical philosophy, like he said it in the audiobook. It's very, very practical. You can start applying it right now. It's really, really practical. It's not like a woo-woo philosophy with spiritual aspects or anything like that. No, it's very practical.
Okay.
And I think, in a way, for example, something like The Prince by Niccolò Machiavelli, or something along the lines of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, or something like, and for example, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, and books like that are very much influenced by Stoic philosophy. Very, very much influenced. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Basically, I have two more questions. The first one, and it's like something that I heard a lot, and it's really one of the mottos that I say to myself every day. It's the memento mori. You're gonna die, as Gary, our friend, is saying. What's your idea on that? Because for me, it's like when I first heard it, it was like, damn, it's so true. It doesn't matter, when you're gonna die. Just the thought that you will die soon should make you like feel alive and take the actions and talk to the girl you like and send a message to the girl you are thinking about all this time, and go take the trip, take the risks. All these things can really make you like change. So what's your like two pieces of content you would say on the memento mori thing?
It's very interesting that you said that, because my aunt, who is a very literate person, she's very intellectual, she told me a story about the memento mori, which turned out to be a myth. It wasn't true. It was her version. Then I researched it, and it wasn't true, about the origins of memento mori and where it came from. And she told me the story. Memento mori was something that in ancient Rome they used to shout when a general would win in the Colosseum or in the arena and stuff like that. And when the crowds were singing and hooraying and saying, yeah, you beat them, you are the best, you are the champion, you are a hero, you are a legend, you are living a walking legend, and stuff like that, what the myth says is that the champion would have beside him a couple of slaves, like the lowest of the lowest of humans in that society, okay? And they would tell him always, memento mori, memento mori, memento mori, which means that, remember, even though they are saying that you are the best, you are the legend, you are this and that, and their hero, you are only a human, and you will die. And it was like this symbolic thing, that the slaves, the entire stadium reminded him of his epicness, but the slaves reminded him of his mortality and how humble he should be. which is an interesting story about memento mori, even though it's not true. That never happened, actually. It's a myth. I think that memento mori as a concept gives you an insane perspective that you may lack. Like, if someone tells you that you're going to die, you can either panic or you can just accept the fact and then just realize how lucky you are to even have the privilege to die. I think people say about white privilege or black privilege or I don't know what, or male privilege. I think the primary privilege is life privilege, and we so easily forget about it that it's insanely improbable to have a life, and even much more to have an intelligent life. You could easily been born as a ladybug or something like that, and you wouldn't matter, you know. And now because of your biology, you can have a sense of meaning. You can do stuff that nobody else can, which is like extremely fascinating to me. And when you wake up every day and you think that you're going to die, I think it's one of the most motivational things that you can do, to be honest. Just that simple, like showing this gratitude and this generosity and accepting the generosity that life gave you and the universe. I don't know. It's great to have memento mori. I think to believe in memento mori is incredible.
Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, I agree. Okie dokie. And last question, because people can get disorientated a little bit by hearing all these beautiful things, and they might expect like life-changing things, and probably that's true as well. But I would like to know what people that are interested in Stoicism can expect to see different in their lives. Like, what will change if someone start studying Stoicism, if start implementing those practical tips? What can the impact of Stoicism in our life can be?
Okay, I think the primary thing would be peace of mind, because they would stop caring about things that don't matter. They would stop worrying about the small things, the little things, and this would immediately give them a much more calm and stress-free and anxiety-free life, just by changing the perspective, just by choosing to ignore certain things and not be so neurotic about what happens. I think this is the first thing, and like the first byproduct, the first consequence of that, when you have peace of mind, which means that you can think clearly. This means that you can make good decisions, okay? And when you make good decisions, then this like creates a positive spiral in your life. For example, when you are not as stressed, it makes it easier for you to, for example, go to the gym or eat more healthy, or work a bit more, work longer hours, be more productive. You raise your fucking IQ if you are not that stressed. So this is like, you open the first door and then you see a whole universe of opportunities. But you have to have your mind at ease to do that, I think. And this is what Stoicism provides you with. And I think any major philosophy or religion, this is what it aims at. For example, let's take for example Christianity or Islam. The promises for a better afterlife, right? This removes part of the suffering in your present life and places it in a better opportunity for you in the future, which in a way, like, it unlocks a certain pathway for you to be able to enjoy your present life as it is, and every other major philosophy or religion is the same, and so is Stoicism. It provides you with a tool to change the way that you look at life so that you can get empowered to perform the way you would like, or the way that this certain ideology would like you to.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Nice, man. If Ryan Holiday and Tim Ferriss sold Stoicism to me like 100 times, you definitely multiply that. So
great, I'm happy. Yeah, nice.
That will be on the list as well. Thanks for the tips. That's all I want to learn today. I don't know if you have any final thoughts that you would like to share before we end.
I think that Stoicism is not for everyone, to be honest. There are people that will find Stoicism very, very counterintuitive and like very counter themselves, like they're going against their flow. And I think that you should honor your flow before you honor anything else. That's why I don't believe. Yeah, I am completely counter ideology. I don't believe in any ideology, because the moment you believe in a certain ideology, I think we talked about that before. You exclude every other ideology that exists, which makes you less flexible as a person, which restricts your opportunities for growth, which is, I think, very detrimental. So I think everybody should at least read something about Stoicism and see like how they react to it. And if you go with it with an open mind, I am sure that you can find at least one or two like golden nuggets that you can extract and then apply to your life, because as we said, it's a very practical philosophy. Then you can apply to your life, immediately improve yourself, and then go on from there. I think, yeah. So yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, guys, episode number 9 done. We'll see you all next week, next Tuesday, as always, in the Conversations That Matter show with @Stratis Karad and @Yannis_Pantelis. Thank you for being here, and stay positive, stay happy. Embrace Stoicism.
Stay sexy. Please stay sexy. Yeah.
Stay sexy.
Stay sexy.
And embrace anything that comes into your life and try to learn new things every day. Because if you are 1% better than what you were yesterday, in a month, in a year, you wouldn't even recognize your past self. So that's pretty much for today. Peace.
Peace. Bye-bye.